And we're on. Yeah.
We're live!
Yeah.
Live in living color!
I think it's been like 7 years since we've been together on a show at the same
7
time.
long years.
7 long years. Almost like
Forgot
Billy Kidman came between us with his 7-year itch.
I forgot what you smelled like.
Well, that's a scent that you would have wanted to miss anyways, I'm sure. But
Oh my.
I'm better than
Ooh.
everyone because of the scarf.
Sweet burgundy scarf. You brought your scarf? I brought my scissors, daddy ass.
Hey, yeah.
Oh,
But
that was sensual.
I guess we should introduce the show. This is the Gout Foundation. It's your
Gout
boy
Foundation!
Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling. I'm back. I actually got married. I don't have my ring on. Damn it.
He married.
Yeah. That was part of the reason
girls.
why that's why we've not done a show in so long. And then my man next to me, yeah, I pointed the right way.
The best gout machine. The reason for your jawline acne. Wait, that's terrible.
I thought that was because I was trying to grow a beard was why I had jawline acne. Now I know who to blame it on.
Me.
But yeah, I want to say it's been since before Thanksgiving, hasn't it?
Yeah, been months. Like holidays hit us hard.
Because we did the holiday, we did the Thanksgiving extravagant. No, Thanksgiving was the something else, I believe. Oh no,
I still call it an extravaganza.
Yeah, and then I got married, so we couldn't do anything that week. And then Christmas.
Oh, you did stuff.
Well, couldn't do the show. Couldn't do anything that was allowed to be shown on YouTube or Twitch without charging money first.
Get that subscription.
Yeah. But I did have some nope, it got lost. I was going to say I did have some footage of me from my honeymoon. That's about as best as I could get right there.
You look very sensual.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we had Christmas. Yeah. I think I got 2 haircuts. Like that's how long it's been. Like I believe that I've gotten 2 haircuts since our last show.
I think I got 1 haircut and my beard's been trimmed like 3 times.
Oh yeah. So see, I don't know proper beard maintenance. So like I think I do mine like more often than I should possibly. I don't know. But hold on.
Let it grow.
I do have some footage from my honeymoon.
Why, hello there.
Ooh. Not time for my bathroom videos. Unfortunately, mine's all in the toilet.
Yeah, that's on our Patreon. Go look for the Patreon and all of the best Gout Machine in the bathroom videos you would like with on the toilet.
Hours of footage of me sitting on a toilet. An image made on a cake.
I heard a story once of a woman, I guess she tried to live her life on the toilet or something, or maybe she was kidnapped and was forced to sit on a toilet or something. But anyway, she was on there so long that like she grew to the toilet. Like
become one.
When paramedics had gotten her off, they said that it was worse than cutting somebody from the toilet seat than somebody who had actually been super glued to a toilet seat because she has that. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. This is one of like those old wives' tales that, when you're a kid, like everybody, like the Richard
Everyone told
Gere,
everyone.
Yeah, like the Richard Gere thing in the gerbil. Like
that was
somehow
real.
That was never reported on television. Never in a movie, but somehow you could ask somebody from any part of the country of like a certain age and they could tell you the story. But yet, like
every state, you could tell. I've heard it.
Yeah, it's like the story of this one's kind of gross, but like the girl had like worms in her jaw, like couldn't shut her mouth.
Oh yeah.
She had the blisters and then went to the
hospital.
In her
gums.
Yeah, and the doctor found worms in the blisters and said, you've had to have been filleting a dead body. She's like, no, I hadn't. And then realized that her boyfriend's family owned a mortuary and her boyfriend was banging the dead bodies. And then
Oh,
she
Jesus.
was, yeah. And then she was, messing around with her boyfriend and then somehow had gotten that into her mouth.
Reminds me of camp.
Yeah. Summer camp.
Filleting dead bodies.
Yeah. So you have anything you get anything big going on? Like I said, I just got married. That's all I've done while we've been off. Other than
Let's
that,
see.
nothing.
My huge thing, which I think was even bigger than yours, was that I went to AW Dynamite. Woo!
Hey. And is it true that Jim Ross has a restraining order against you?
I believe so. If you look at my TikTok, you'll see that I was right next to the announcer booth and I ran down to like wave, but I got so passionate that I just was like yelling, "I love you, Jim Ross! I love you!" I'm like 10 feet from him, and he just goes like, well, I'm just going, ah!
Then we'll talk seeing a live WWE Dynamite.
There is nothing like seeing a live WWE. Oh shit.
See, it happens to the best of us.
And I am the best of us.
But yeah, so I'm hoping next time we get a chance to do a show that maybe the paperwork will have been sent to you by then from his attorneys, because
by then, I'm sure he feared for his life. The lawyers have already contacted me. They all sent the papers will come in covered in barbecue stains.
Well, that just means that he thoroughly looked them over.
And a free bag of beef jerky.
Oh. Ooh. Well, hell, I may want to try to get a restraining order against me from Jim Ross if you're getting a free bag of jerky.
Show some skin.
Yeah, well,
show
you know what? I might make that drive next week. That drive don't seem so bad now that I could get a free bag of jerky out of it. That's all worth it.
What I wanted for Christmas.
But so we've been gone for 2 months now. We've had shows out. I'm sure everybody has seen, all of our millions and millions of fans.
Extravaganzas.
And one bad thing has happened, right? We had a show somewhat planned, I guess you would say, kinda. And I wouldn't say that this news interrupted it, because that's kind of disrespectful to say. But Jay Briscoe passing away, that's something obviously we're not going to joke about at all. A legend like that, Ring of Honor, current Ring of Honor tag team champion,
still champ.
That a tribute show has been recorded for him. A lot of people are thinking that it's going to be out this week. I personally don't think that we'll be seeing it until next week, just because Mark, I'm sure they're going to want to have Mark, even if it's a pre-shot, pre-tape or whatever. I'm sure they're going to want Mark as a part of it. And yesterday was his birthday. I'm like pretty certain yesterday was his birthday.
So much.
And Jay's birthday is next Wednesday. He would have turned 39 next Wednesday.
Yeah. He's just a few couple months younger than me.
Yeah. He I think he's 2 months older than I am, I believe. But he so I think they might, if it were me personally, with it being so close to his birthday and wanting to do it right from a production standpoint, I could see them holding off until next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Take a little bit of time on it.
Yeah. And then, kind of showing a little bit of respect to Mark in giving him time to do that pre-tape, instead of, because some people acted like they called Mark up last night while Dynamite was on the air going, hey, pull your cell phone out and get us something
Too
right
soon.
now. We're doing a tribute show. I know Tony Khan is a very reactionary type
Mhm.
person, wanting to get
But he's
stuff
respectful.
done. Yeah, I don't see him going to that level to just straight
Mhm.
up get all up in somebody. You know, the Brody Lee stuff was kind of quick, but
Mhm.
behind the scenes, as more and more, all the information around that
Yeah.
still isn't even out. Um, it seems like stuff was already getting put together before he passed away. That so much so that Brody even had a little bit of input on
Yeah.
some of this stuff.
He was sick for months, so
Yeah.
they kind of knew.
And that's why WWE people were so heavily put into his in memoriam segment, because since he had the input in it, Tony felt it would have been wrong to be like, well, since he's passed away, we're not going to do this. Like Tony at least kept his
Mhm.
word, did that. And I would think, Tony did sign the Briscoes. Tony, from what I understand, had tried on more than one occasion to get the Briscoes to be on Dynamite.
It would have
That
been amazing.
the segment when the Ass Boys pulled out the dog collars out of the stockings, the reason why that happened so late in the episode, and basically, what, 4 days, I believe,
4 days.
collar match, was because Tony was still fighting with Warner during the show. I guess the Briscoes had already made a pre-tape, and Tony was still fighting with Warner throughout the show to be able to show the pre-tape. And I guess he ended up losing. That's why if you go and watch that back, the Ass Boys kind of stumble, and it kind of seems like they're doing what they
Mhm.
can to vamp for time to fill up the time, because they're what they have to say isn't that long. And the Briscoes promo was probably going to be 15-30 seconds longer than that. But I understand a guy's done something wrong a while ago, but
Yeah.
damn, you got Tony freaking sniffing Adderall off of Tony Storm's breasts on TV, and that's all good. But a guy says something however many years ago, and all of a sudden he can't be shown.
It's messed up because Warner would not put him on there, but since then, LGBTQ wrestlers like Effie and Pero, and I believe one other guy popped up and said, "This man treated us as equals. He was
Oh
not
yeah,
mean to us whatsoever."
yeah.
And
So I don't talk a lot about like when I was around people, because I feel like losing a couple matches in the ring really doesn't give me the right to talk about as much stuff as I witnessed or was accustomed to. And he did a favor for CM Punk. I want to say it's 2004, 2005, to come into IWA. And he was, as far as like dudes that came in from like the outside, like big time dudes, like, you talk about Raven, Dreamer, Sandman, like
Mhm.
dudes like that. And I understand the Briscoes weren't that big by then. They were like, people knew him, like a lot of people knew him. But you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like an underground, a national. How would you describe that? A nationally known underground person, I guess. Um, he
I
wasn't
just
at
say
that
indie
level.
talent,
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're
top
one of
tier
those.
indie.
Yeah, they're one of those people that like a wrestling fan could have never seen them, but would still know who you're talking about.
Mhm.
And he was like one of the coolest. And there were a couple of guys backstage in that promotion that were like straight up like Punk wouldn't talk to him, like flamboyantly out of the closet. And obviously he didn't make those comments yet. I don't even think he made those comments until what, like 2011 or whatever.
Yeah.
And shit, he was talking to them just like, and a lot of people like Ian only booked them because like the people that knew these guys, like that was like 40 tickets that he knew would be sold every weekend if he had these guys on the card. because their friends and family supported them. Uh,
Mm.
but Ian didn't even want these guys on the card because they were so flamboyantly out, and he was just as friendly with them as he was anybody, and Mark, he was still in his shy little, stage.
He was a
So
youngin'.
there was no way to really gauge him. Shit, I think he had just turned 20 at the time, maybe. Probably wasn't. I know he wasn't 21. I know he wasn't old enough to drink yet. Um, but I mean, hell, when you have people that were part of the company that worked with these dudes every weekend that wouldn't talk to him, and Jay came in, talked to him, no issues, no nothing. That's why it blows my mind that like you can mess up one time
Mm.
and that it's on you for the rest of your life. But you're a pretty big Jay Briscoe fan, wouldn't you say?
Love
Wouldn't
him.
you consider yourself that? Well,
I would. I would.
I'm gonna give you the floor here for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Hmm.
Tell everybody a little bit about Jay Briscoe, why you're a fan of him, and everything else, and then as you do that, I'm gonna get us a video going of the classic barn burner between Mark and Jay Briscoe. But yeah, I'd just like to hear your thoughts as like a true all the way fan of Jay Briscoe.
Jay Briscoe is a man you believed his character. When he came out, his eyes were wide and they stayed like that. There was an intensity behind there and they stayed there for the duration of the match. For every promo from beginning to end, you believed that this man lived this character and he was beyond intense. And he went in, he whooped ass. And he whooped ass honorably. He belonged in Ring of Honor. At the end of a lot of matches, like he always did the Code of Honor, shook the hands. There are so many videos and pictures of him embracing his opponents because he was tough as hell. And you can just feel like he lived the Code of Honor. He lived for Ring of Honor. Like he whooped someone's ass, but he gave them their props when the props was due. And I felt like he was that kind of man as well. He was a family man. He had his brother, his father, he had a wife and children. I've seen how great he was as a father, and God bless him. I miss him already. We got some, see,
Yeah,
eyes, intense right there.
and I mean that's against his brother. This was something that as it came out that the Briscoes, knowing Ring of Honor was already on the brink, and this match happened well before the whole Ring of Honor going out of business happened, but that the Briscoes knew more about the ins and outs of Ring of Honor than possibly anybody.
Mm-hmm.
um th- they knew that Ring of Honor needed some promotion, needed to stay, in the hearts and minds of fans
Mm-hmm.
while we started going through this pandemic. And the Briscoes were like, hell, why don't we put together a cinematic match? We're already kind of feuding on television anyways. So let's go ahead. People know that we're going to have to see each other through this pandemic anyways. So why don't we just go ahead and blow off our feud, but do it in such a way that it's going to keep Ring of Honor on everyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they know that they're going to get something, and let's make a match that you could watch more than one time.
Yeah.
Not make it a silly like, oh, there's Skarsgård in the middle of the pond of Lake Reincarnation.
Now this was a
Doing stuff
brawl.
that
This was
makes
a brawl.
sense.
No, this is a legit brawl. And you gotta give him up for the loyalty he had staying with Ring of Honor for 20 years, and they did this, to keep Ring of Honor in the minds and ears of wrestling fans.
Oh yeah. And they and they even like right there, like, okay, it makes sense for that table to be set up there because they had to clear the barn to put that ring in for them to have this match.
You know that table was used at a family
The
reunion to like
cameramen, which
sell
they
to have Roja.
explained why they were there. That was actually they were gonna have Thanksgiving dinner on that. And
that table was used at plenty of family reunions. One bris, and it was served brisket on there for a family of 20.
Hopefully it was. Hopefully the tablecloth was changed in between those last two.
No.
If not, that brisket was a little saucy.
I heard it was delicious, and they had some type of salad with raisins.
The one thing that I like, which I could turn it back on here, they were actually, they made sure that it wasn't a silent encounter. They were talking shit. You could hear them breathing. You could hear, they made sure you heard the thunks, the clunks,
No one talks shit better than Jay.
Yeah. And they made sure they were in a spot that should have been silent, more silent than even those empty arena matches that we were seeing at the time. They still made sure that, when they hit the ground, hitting the ground's not going to make as much noise as hitting a mat in the ring, Down, they made sure it was done with enough of a thud that it was heard, And this stuff right here, unless you were out in the country, you wouldn't understand how heavy those are, to throw at somebody. And that ain't like he's lifting that like that is nothing. And those are a pain in the ass to deal with, and then a piece of wood that size, who's going to say that they could just grab a piece of wood that size, just jerk it around,
Yeah, that stuff they already had. That they did not do a trip to Lowe's.
Yeah, all this stuff makes sense to be where it's at. And then, like right there, Jay gets nailed in the nut instead of falling back, and running around in 15 circles going, "Oh my God, Triple H just buried me!" Ha! Like they did in those cinematic matches. When Jay got kicked in the nuts, he's like, "Oh shit, this means he's going to try to start attacking." He made sure to fall onto Mark like you would in a fight, like you would fall onto your guy to make sure that he don't get one up on you, Like they're actually
granted though, this match could
like
use
random drawers,
Yeah.
Somebody probably had a dresser they had to move, and they were like, "Well, shit, we're moving the dresser around the house." And everybody's seen that plyboard on the bottom of dresser drawers. They know that breaks easy, but still, get that shit broke over your head into a fight, every little bit's gonna take something out of you.
They got a cousin who's like, "So what happened to my dresser drawers? I'll let you borrow."
Well, no, what it is, it's the cousin going, "Hey, remember you helped me move that dresser? I think I left 2 of the drawers in the back of the truck." Like, "Oh no, don't know what you're talking about." Well, you say that, guys, but I watched this match on YouTube, and I can't help but notice that the white dresser I'm talking about, that ladder right there, there is no way a member of the Bucks would have been able to lift that ladder. No way.
It's like 8 times the size of Nick.
Yeah.
That felt like it's something Mark would yell right now.
And now, see, and it's something too, like right here where it's like, okay, well, he's seen Jay came to his senses, so he's not going to run and jump off of that thing, He's like, "Well, I was going to run and do a diving move, but oh shit, he came to his senses, so he'll run out of the way." But, if this was a Bucks match or a Hardy's match or whatever, go for it and just let the guy getting hit look like a fucking moron. But yeah, let's add a little bit of sound to it, and then we'll jump ahead a little after
Yeah.
this nice little brawl.
Boom, bam, boom, bam, bang, boom, boom. Make sure there's no dead air. Boom, bam, boom, boom.
This is what I was talking about them doing the whole match, as far as making sure it wasn't a silent match.
Yeah.
You know,
See, they all go,
Jay's not up right now,
and,
so he's not talking his shit.
yeah. Boom. Bam.
Now, were you big of Honor at the time before they went on the hiatus?
I dipped out a little bit right before the hiatus. So there was like, but a good chunk of the pandemic, I was all over them.
Okay.
I was down for the whole the Pure tournament and
See right there, and that's okay. See right there, that was probably the quote unquote fakest part of the match, but you know, it's late and it would have made sense to have like a pool that you're setting up like right there for that padding to be there for him to land on.
you know they got an above ground pool somewhere. Wind chilled in there afterwards.
I love how they kept on putting the warms up for the match. And but no, I really didn't know too much of like you know, other wrestling fans at the time. So I didn't know how many wrestling fans were into Ring of Honor at the time to see this. I personally wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. What's his name? Damn it. I can't remember his name right now. The one that
guy with the
has the
hair.
boys with them.
Oh, Dalton Castle.
What the hell is his? Yeah, Dalton Castle is what got me back into Ring of Honor. Yeah.
Ah.
He was who got me into Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Same here.
Injured around right before the hiatus. He had gotten injured, and so I quit watching. And this right here is what actually got me interested to go catch up. I know that's for a wrestling purist. That's something I shouldn't say, you know, as a wrestling purist. But you know, I know fans will give me all type of heat for it, but this right here is what got me into it. But you know, a lot of people didn't get into Impact Wrestling until that Matt Hardy match, you know, when Matt Hardy whatever it's called happened.
The final deletion? The third deletion?
Yeah, no,
Ultimate
deletion. It was the very first one. The one that supposedly was the worst thing to ever happen to pro wrestling.
You've been listening to Cornette.
He disappeared? Yeah.
Boom, he came back.
Now, was that really Jim Cornette that said that started the whole Matt Hardy ruined pro wrestling, started the whole argument?
I think Jim Cornette says everyone.
Jim Cornette was even yeah. But I didn't know.
I think even Jim Cornette said I ruined. I think Jim Cornette even said I ruined wrestling. Yeah. Here's me all. Here's that Scott machine. He over there ruining pro wrestling. He's killing the business over there, making them damn TikToks.
Yeah. Jumped ahead a little.
Hold on, Jay. He don't know nothing.
Twitch don't get us for showing the whole match.
We're going to get spanked by Twitch so hard.
But the thing is that the fact that this match started in the ring, turned into a brawl with some craziness, but still ended in the ring.
As it turned right back into a wrestling match.
You know, and the fact that their father seems to be a better referee than just about any, well, not just about, than every referee in AEW for sure. Because at
Goddamn.
least a chaotic match like this, he was able to turn it and get it to happen back into the ring. Like, hey, I understand this was a brawl. You guys were going to fight. I let you guys get it out of you, out throughout the barn. But now let's go ahead and finish it in the ring because we need a 1, 2, 3, or we need somebody to give up. But it needs to happen in the ring, just like what a referee should do.
I bet if they like bumped into him, he would not pass out for 40 minutes.
Well, yeah. And I honestly think them boys are afraid of their daddy too.
Oh yeah. Put him
But
in a
yeah, that's
match.
just a little bit. I think he was in a 6-man with them at one point, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah. I'm like 90% sure.
I think against Dalton Castle and the boys.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna Google the hell out of that later.
Yeah. But yeah, the just Jay Briscoe, like I said, we had to mention it. There was no need for us not to mention
we
it.
would be terrible people if we did not mention it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, this match would have been something that you and I would have discussed at some point anyways, considering we talk about all the crazy stuff that happens in pro wrestling. We usually, like I said, talk about some things that are happening currently, but we usually do pick something from the past. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been too long before we would have discussed this match anyways. It's just since Jay had passed away, we weren't looking at it with the lens of, man, look at that. They're rolling around in chicken shit. Look at what, we didn't look at it with that lens. We looked at it more with in the ultimate deletion, this guy hit the guy with the boat, and then the boat turned sentient, and he is now the X Division champion. Instead, we were like, it made sense for that table to be there because the cameraman had to set up his equipment there. No
ladder went sentient in this match.
Yeah, we are not seeing a ladder being part of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and that's what the Briscoes did. They brought, as you were saying before I cut you off by showing the match, intensity, realism. Like, he made you believe, like, they were them boys. Obviously my heart goes out to him. His daughter, from what I've heard, his daughter did have a successful surgery yesterday. But Mark Briscoe, is he wanting to continue? If he does,
I'm curious. I want to know.
If he does continue, will they do kind of like a Kerry Von Erich type thing, like when David Von Erich passed away, and they give Mark that match against Claudio? Because, if you're going to put Mark in a match with somebody, it needs to be somebody that can just be thrown around like they're nothing, like Claudio.
Top notch.
Yeah, like somebody that could work around somebody. Don't get me wrong, Mark's a great tag team wrestler, but there's a reason why he had never been world champion like Jay.
Yeah, Jay was
the workhorse of the,
Yeah, he was more serious. He was taken more serious than Mark was.
Yeah,
Mark was kind of a funny one. Yeah, I guess
Jay was the Ricky Morton in half of the Richard Gibson of their tag team. Mark just made up for that, just that little, like, they couldn't have been a tag team without Mark, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not meaning that in the sense of you need two guys for a tag team. I mean that in the sense of what Mark brought to the table is what made it work.
Anyone else other than him, it would not have been, they would not be the Briscoes, or they would not have been the tag team that they were.
Yeah, because the flair that he added wasn't a flair as in just like throw a headpiece and some tassels on a guy and bam, we got them made. Like, the flair he added it blended well with Jay's realness and intensity, but it made sense for him to be with Jay, even though he was completely off the wall. Like, there's so many damn promos where Jay has you believing, like, shit, Jay is gonna like legit beat the shit out of these
Mhm.
dudes when we get to the pay-per-view. And then there's 5 seconds left, and then you hear a gun go off, and Mark's like, "Oh shit, sorry, bro." Like, he's making you laugh, but that's what made it. Like, that's what gave them their edge. That's what actually got them to where they were such a highly sought commodity
Mhm.
by every big company. But then, advertisers is what ruined it so many times, which personally I
Yeah.
believe they probably made more money um outside of being in big companies than they possibly would have earned, except for AEW, because AEW is just paying everybody crazy amounts. But
Mhm. Here's
they
a lot of cash. Here's a lot of cash.
yeah, exactly.
Give
But
that money to my dealer.
if they have Mark do the, beat Claudio for the title to get that one big, we did it for Jay,
Yeah, one big moment.
you know, and with the way TV and everything is today, because that Kerry Von Erich thing happened fairly soon after David passed away. We could run this. What is it? They have pay-per-view in March, I believe.
Yeah, March 31st in Los Angeles.
Yes. So, ooh,
Planning
you
on
may
being
be
there.
there. I was gonna say you may be there.
I
Um,
yeah, I plan on it.
so they have plenty of time. I understand Honor Club's not up and going yet, but if they kick it off, like I said, I believe it'll be probably until next week before they get
Mhm.
the show up for Jay. It would be nice if the reunion show's on this weekend, but I feel they're going to put some
Yeah.
time and real effort into it.
Mhm.
The You got time to build a show, and if Jay was the reason why the Briscoes were being left off, well, Mark can
Mark, you
come
got nothing against Mark.
AWTV, right? So he
Yeah.
can show up. He can build
Yeah.
this program against Claudio. And even if he doesn't make it, it's still a story. If he loses
Mhm.
in a time limit draw,
Yeah.
um, if he loses just because he made a dumb decision somewhere, he decided to pick a left ankle instead of a right ankle. And when he threw his body into it, it set Claudio up perfectly for a drop down choke or something like that, where
Yeah.
it's just the simplest, just tiniest thing that him in defeat that way
Mhm.
almost highlights why Jay was so amazing, because Mark losing in that fashion after fighting that hard actually made Mark look better, but
Mhm.
actually
He
makes
needs to
his
look good,
brother.
and Mark can
Yeah.
do. Yeah, that can be accomplished.
And
Like
if
I look
he
forward.
Yeah, because if
Like,
he
I look forward
loses in
to
that way, and then
Froggy
let him
Bow
win.
versus the uppercut.
Yeah. And if you let him, have him come back for another match, But if you have him lose to just something so simple after a hard fought match, now don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
it has to be a hard fought match.
Roll
But
up.
let him lose. No, because that's the most devastating move in
WWE. I
all
know.
of
I was
wrestling.
waiting for it. I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose.
But it,
Disqualification.
but if he like I said, just goes for the wrong arm on the arm bar. He's been working on the left arm all match, and goes for the right arm when he tries to do something, and it causes him to get pinned because he thought he was going to tap Claudio out for it, not realizing that that wasn't the arm he was attacking all match. So then he
Mhm.
doesn't look horrible in defeat, but then it also brings up like Jay was so good that wouldn't have happened to Jay. So Jay would have won this match. Jay would be Ring of Honor champion right now, but he's not here. But if Jay was here, we know that he'd be Ring of Honor champion. Just it's not that hard to tell that story. It's
Yeah.
not. Or at least it shouldn't be. I'll put it that way. It shouldn't be that hard to tell that story.
You
Um,
got 2 months, 2.5 months. It can be
how,
done.
Now, how would you tell it? Would you like Claudio to be the guy, or would you like for the story to start at the next pay-per-view? Would you hold off
Hmm.
and start the story then
I can
after the
picture.
match is over?
I don't know how Mark would be like right now. Like how I don't know what's in his headspace. Could he would he be okay with being a singles wrestler right now? And if so, like minute you have Jay pop up, be like, oh, I want to challenge in honor of Jay, which I kind of feel like has been done with like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. But what the hey, tale as old as time. Have Mark go after it, like within the next month. Like hell, they've had matches, headline matches for Ring of Honor announced, 4 days before.
Yeah.
So we got 2 months to have something built up, including Mark. Or I don't know. I don't know who else would be perfect. Dalton Castle.
Now the one good / bad thing about Claudio being the champion that he would maybe chase for this match is the fact that Claudio's a good guy, right? So, and this is why it's a good thing / bad thing. Whenever there's a death in wrestling, and that's used as part of the storyline, something's going to be said about the deceased. But since Claudio's the good guy, we won't have to walk that very fine line of
please,
saying
I don't want another Randy Orton talking to Rey Mysterio about Eddie. Please don't. I don't want this to ever happen. Paige or whatever talking about Reed Flair. Like, no more of this. We're done there.
And Claudio, and I still think it would be respectful, and Claudio could still use that as some of his ammunition, saying, you're only brought up because of your brother, and that's all that needs to be said, nothing else. And that is still a line that has no disrespect to it whatsoever, but still is a heat getting line, But with Claudio being a face, he could also word it in a way like, I respected your brother. Your brother is a great man. Let's see if you could live up to the legacy that he's left behind. And let's see if you could do it as well. And then, then you even got both sides honoring Jay, with Claudio saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that my title reign is just as great as Jay's title reigns are. And I'm going to show that by beating you just like your brother was able to every time you guys locked up.
And beat him with a Jay driller.
Oh, man. That would be, and that could be Mark's way out right there, is have Mark beat Claudio, or not beat Claudio, hit Claudio with it, thinking that's enough to beat him, but pander to the crowd for too much, thinking Jay destroys everybody with this. And then he goes and doesn't get the pin with it, and then just is so beside himself that Claudio kicked out, and then Claudio ends up winning.
And he picks him up, Claudio gets him in a roll-up, 1, 2, 3, boom, done.
Yeah. Most devastating move, man. Most devastating move.
Devastating. Careers have been ended because of a roll-up.
You know what? Careers have really been set on a pretty good trajectory with a roll-up as well. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat would not even have a career if it was not for the roll-up. Think of one great victory that he's had where he didn't win with a roll-up. I'll give you as much time as you need.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do,
because the closest Ricky the Dragon Steamboat signature victory that did not involve him hitting a surprise roll-up or a cradle of some sort was him hitting a roll-through crossbody, where he hit a crossbody that got reversed, that he reversed that one extra time to get a pin. But all of his big NWA championship wins, United States championship wins, Intercontinental championship wins, all with surprise roll-up or inside cradle.
And not one time did he use a tope suicida.
Not, well, No, because he probably didn't make it over the top rope. Because I don't think guys were like had the thighs to jump that high back in the day.
80s
Like,
thighs were not meant for tope suicidas or tope con hilos.
because if you look at the women from back then, the asses weren't as fat either.
No.
So like,
And I
fat
pay
asses,
attention.
fat
I pay
asses
attention.
didn't become a thing until the 90s, and then all of a sudden, in the mid to late 90s, people started jumping over the top rope.
Mhm.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
Just saying, we're just saying, Rey Mysterio got it going on back there.
Yeah. And speaking of Ray, let me segue here.
Mommy, it burns. I can't see.
So Dominic Mysterio goes from that just 3 months ago, goes from being the whiny little, oh, where's my mommy?
Mommy, I will make it in prison.
To possibly the hardest mother effer out there. Like,
Damn.
straight thug, like,
Thug.
I am hoping MVP does not come to him in the wrong way, because MVP's been locked up. So MVP kind of knows the line that he could kind of ride there. But I'm thinking that Dominic's going to have to end up ending the Hurt Business before it even starts if MVP gets in Dom's way, trying to hurt his credibility, because Dom's a scary dude now. Like,
yep.
Prison
Hardened
changes
criminal.
him. Yeah. I mean,
strength thug.
Dude, like 4 hours, man, in a California jail. Ooh.
That does shit to you.
And I mean, they were already, and if you noticed, since he's gotten out, the Judgment Day were flagging with their purple bandanas like they were Groove Street gangsters all day long, you know? Like they were all bowdy. Once Dominic got out, that shit got cut real quick, because Dom, put them onto the knowledge like, hey, this ain't our crew. We can't be sagging and flagging like that, man. Like, this is how we're rolling now. And number one contenders for the tag team titles. Bam. That quick. Boom. Like, that's what prison does to a man.
4 hours in prison, that's like 8 hours in a California DMV. It changes you. It makes you a scarier man, and there's no scarier man than Dominic. When he was in front of the Usos at Monday Night Raw, he's like, I could smell fear. And they're like, no, we don't. Bullshit. Usos were wetting their pants at the sight of such a hardened criminal.
And the craziest thing is just Dom's transformation, because it's, it was, oh, Dominic, the submissive guy, to where, like, he is ex-condom right now. Like, Trojan better find a way to sponsor this man, because ex-condom, X gonna give it to you. X.
His finishing move should be called Magnum.
The Magnum Rider.
Ooh.
But, Dom served more time than both the Usos put together, because the Usos, they're afraid. They can't hang like Condom can. And they're getting bailed out the second they're getting locked down. Dom did not care. When he got put in, he said, hold on before you pay my bail. I got this. And he sat there and he learned. He got that street education like you get when you're down in the pen. Got them workouts in. He saw what real struggles of life were by the food they try to feed you. And the Usos, every time they got locked up, as soon as their fingerprints were in, they were out. I don't even think any of them were technically in jail. They've been arrested. Don't get me wrong. We all know they've been arrested. But I don't think any of them served time. I think maybe Jay that last time, because he had like 7 DUIs in 9 weeks or whatever. Like, I think he had to stay in for like a good 45 minutes. But
Then
other
WWE was like, we need you now, and also congratulations, you're champion.
yeah, because they couldn't have done it without him. They couldn't. They
Mhm.
could not. They didn't have an option of giving just Jay by himself, like the Intercontinental title, or Jimmy, I mean, of just
Yeah.
giving him the Intercontinental title to like let this story ride out. The Usos had to be tag team champions because it wouldn't have worked.
Hmm.
But man, and I don't know. I just needed to point out the fact that like just Dominic went from a guy that we potentially, if we would have been able to have shows, if I didn't decide to get married like an idiot,
You jerk.
um, could have been making fun of every single show to like a guy that I want to make sure that both of us, just so my ass is covered from all ends, that both of us are on record showing as much respect as possible for this man. Because that's how hard he is. I'm terrible.
Mhm.
I don't want any beef.
I have nightmares of Dom coming into my room and forcing me to like grab hold of his pocket and have him like have it inside out and have him like walk me around, introduce me as his bitch.
Well, see, I have
I also
fantasies
have
of that.
dreams of that.
Yeah. Because you know that if that happened in real life, that you'd be protected. I mean, you're Dom's bitch. I mean,
No one
it,
gonna hurt me.
I wish when I was locked up, would have had that luxury. Like, I wish I had an X condom around just so I could have held his pocket and know that I was protected. But instead, I just had to use the shit talking to the best of my abilities and just make sure I'm dodging shanks. But it's almost like I had to be a time traveler. And speaking of that,
To the future.
is that man a real time traveler or not? Because I swear to you, he was on Dynamite,
Hmm.
right? And he looked more young and youthful than he
Hmm.
did like 2 years ago.
Yeah, like just being away. I don't know what he did in the past few months that just made him youthful again.
Yeah.
And I think we're
Now,
seeing a younger version of him.
I'm almost starting to wonder. I have this theory. Like, I forgot to even talk to you about this before we went live, but I have this theory that the sunshine in Florida, because that's a pretty sunny state. When you think of
Hmm.
sunshine and you're on the eastern half of the United States, you think Florida. I feel like that does like the bad things to your skin that you hear about on TV and all that. But if you're on the West Coast, like the California, Japan type sun, and you're getting that type of sunshine, like that's when all
Hmm.
the good things happen to your skin. And if Kushida's not a time traveler, he has to be sitting out in that California, Japan sun. He's not in any of that
Hmm.
Florida, South Africa, Australian type sun. He's in that Western type sun.
Being as someone that lives in LA, I'm happy to know that Japan has the exact same weather.
Yeah.
And I plan on visiting Japan while wearing nothing but a Speedo.
Did you know Japan is like much larger than it appears on a map? Like Japan is almost the size of like California. But
I
if
actually
like
heard lots of countries and continents are way bigger
yeah,
than they look on a map.
yeah, like if you look at a map, you would think like Japan would fit like perfectly like inside California. Because if you think about it, it's bent almost opposite way of like
Mhm.
California. They make a uterus together. Holy shit. Like Hawaii like perfectly like comes out right in between the two. So
Mm.
is Hawaii like the ejaculant trying to go up into the uterus that those two form? Or is Hawaii what was birthed of California and Japanese cultures? Because if you think
Welcome to
about it,
Cream Pie Country.
because Hawaii, if you think about it, is like the perfect blend of like California and Japanese culture. So is that what fell out of the birth canal? Was Hawaii?
It's a biracial baby.
Okay, I know that has nothing to do with wrestling, but
I made a porn
Kushida,
reference.
is he like, is his time traveling gimmick come from the fact that like he believed Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan said he wrestled 400 days a year because he kept on crossing the international date line? Because I
They
heard
forced.
Kushida kept on going back home and then back to the States while he was in NXT. And does he subscribe to that? So now he legitimately believes he's a time traveler?
They would slap him around and be like, Hulk Hogan wrestled 400 matches a year. You get that, Kushida? And he'd go back to Japan and they would be like, oh, tell us about Hulk Hogan. He wrestled 400 matches a year. He still does to this day. Martin Luther King Jr. Was a cyborg.
Now, also, though, Kishida's watch, if you pay attention, and if I was really good at my job, I would have had the pictures for you. The clock on his watch changes like subtly. And if you look at the time that's on that watch, that looks like it's drawn on his wrist. If you look at it, wherever it's at, so like all right, so 9 a.m. Anything earlier than 9 o'clock on that watch, he looks younger. He usually has like design shaved in the side of his head and everything. But anything after 9, like that's when the hair doesn't have any designs. The hat's usually straightforward instead of a little askew. He's usually zipped up a little bit. So there is a little bit of evidence that like the time traveling thing is a bit legit.
I could see that going on. Personally, I believe that the time drawn on his hand was dinner time,
Oh,
and that it's time to make some Salisbury steaks.
microwaved, I'm assuming, correct?
Obviously, you don't cook no Salisbury steaks in the oven.
Oh, who
This
does
is
that?
America,
And
where we microwave.
speaking of American microwavable dinners, I have found the sexiest photo in wrestling history.
Ooh,
Raw is XXX, baby. So you know what that means. All the
mm.
playmates, anybody that's posed for Playgirl or Playboy magazine in WWE history are coming back and getting naked.
Orgies, baby.
Live, I don't know how Beth Phoenix feels about it, but Edge and Lita recreating the live sex celebration. And since they're going XXX full nudity this time, no under the blanket shenanigans. Shawn Michaels, we will see the backside of that famous centerfold, so we will see full ass.
Full heartbreak butthole.
The one that was kind of hidden when Tori and was it Tori and Trish? No, Tori and Stacy Keibler
Yeah.
did Playboy together. There was a couple of ones that WWE didn't show you on TV where there was a third woman involved, and it looked like they were pretty close to some penetration with the arm up their legs. That will be redone. I believe George Clooney actually may come out as part of it. So just saying, pretty excited for Raw
It makes a great one.
XXX.
Personally, I Googled Raw XXX recently, and like that's hours of fun. On a side note, Jesus malarkey. Heavens to Betsy.
I keep that next to me at all times, no matter where I am, no matter where I go.
Like, man, I really got the floor here. Oh my God.
I keep that thing on me.
I didn't know a backside existed. I'm going to have to go to church now. Lord. Yeah, I got the vapors.
Now, as you were saying, you said you Googled it and that XXX meant 30?
What?
You
No,
said that XXX means 30?
allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. But come on, guys. You throw a poster out there like that, we're seeing booty cheeks and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I personally will be very disappointed when I do my result video Tuesday morning if I am not telling the people about 3 or 4 incidents of penises, balls, or boobies. Gonna be pretty mad. Asses should be there. Um, what I think they have a perfect setup for because of the XXX would be if what's a 3-man faction that's like Big E wouldn't be back from his injury yet, would he? No, he's probably still a good distance away, isn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe if like DX came out, but just like Sean Hunter and Road Dogg, like the ones that are still like employed with WWE, and they moon the camera at one point, and when they pull down their pants, we get the XXX right across their asses.
For
Or
one night, let's make a TVMA.
Or if the third woman comes out with Tori and Stacy,
Mhm.
and then like if I were the editor, I would accidentally put the XXX on their backs and keep the asses in personally.
Sweet sensual booty cheeks.
There is a chance of us getting some China highlights. Pretty excited about that. I read something. I guess X-Pac started some type of travel blog, and one of his big time videos was called One Night in China. So
I've seen this.
yeah. So apparently he's done some extensive traveling there in the region.
All sorts of regions.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he met the Great Wall or anything
Oh,
like
they're
that.
walls.
But I personally haven't seen it, so I'd be pretty excited if they decide to show that on Raw.
They're walls indeed.
Hopefully, there's going to be some traveling enthusiasts that see this, so we could
Let us know, people.
that know all about this. But so as we talked about Raw, just one last thing I'd like to touch on this week, and
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
so Uncle Howdy, I'd like to ask you and everybody else before we go off air. Okay, so obviously it can't be Bray because that's why I purposely left
No
Bray
doppelganger.
in the shot. I'm fairly certain it's not LA Knight because I've seen both of them in the same place, same time too. Uncle Howdy has gotten pretty close to Alexa Bliss, so those people are eliminated. So if it were you, who do you believe Uncle Howdy is?
I got a couple of guesses. First off, I'm going to say Trish Stratus,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ted Turner,
The mustache, yeah.
mustache, and another bearded aficionado, Vicky Guerrero.
Oh, I haven't seen her on AEW television for a while.
Yeah,
And that's
and I know she has not been on Dark.
And that's why my first guess is Keith Lee. That's how Keith Lee is coming back to WWE. Finally using him for something that his talents of standing around and doing nothing are useful for. Other than that,
my juicy boy.
The only person I really feel that it could be, like, I would be almost shocked if it isn't him, is Ted DiBiase.
Crack the code.
Because the
Same facial
laughing,
hair.
yeah, laughing, if his laugh is distorted just a little bit, we have Uncle Howdy. I could also see Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he does ridiculous shit like that too.
I know he does dress up on his own.
But I feel that if anybody could guess who Uncle Howdy is correctly, or give us an amazing guess, like just an out of this world guess that makes sense to people, not something dumb.
Inspire me.
And I don't want to hear Bo Dallas. That's his brother. That's what the rumor good old Dave, Uncle Dave says. I don't want to hear that. Okay?
Daddy Meltzer.
We want to hear some for real answers from you people out there. And that is what you could win from us here at the Gout Foundation, okay? It's Bray Wyatt and his little Uncle Howdy magic hat.
We're givers, we're takers, we're pitchers and receivers. Wait.
I think those are different sports.
Shit.
We're goalkeepers and receivers. No, those are different sports too. We do things. Gout Foundation.
Gout Foundation. America. Woo!
But you got anything good you need to say before we sign off this week?
Don't stop believing. Do not take wooden nickels. Do kiss strangers. Follow us on TikTok and YouTube. Gout Foundation.
Gout Foundation!
Gout Foundation, the best gout machine.
And once again, use wooden nickels. Do not kiss strangers. And stop believing.
That's not what my uncle taught me.
But guys, it's been good. It's been great to be back. It really is great.
I missed you.
I miss you too. I don't believe you understand how much I needed this. But we're back. It's the new year. We should be getting on schedule sometime soon here. Hopefully this is the beginning of
like a period.
Yeah, but if women hang out with other women, like I guess one of them doesn't have a period or something.
I'm still bleeding.
Oh. Well, that was awkward then. But for your boy Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling and
the best gout machine,
this has been the Gout Foundation, and we will see you sometime in the future.
Deuces.